saw you walking down the street.
Dr. Andrea Shanowski from Freedom Chiropractic and Holistic Health and our YouTube channel, Health and Horsepower. This week, I want to talk to you a little bit more about heartburn and more specifically about foods we want to avoid and foods we want to add in to help soothe heartburn and prevent it as well. So when it comes to heartburn, you have to understand what is actually going on or what your body's trying to tell you. A lot of times when we have heartburn, we are told by our doctor we have too much acid and it's causing irritation. It's causing us to basically have that come back up on us and actually irritate the esophagus and the stomach and cause pain. But most of the reality is that in the past 10 to 15 years, a lot of the research is actually showing that we have poor acid, which means that acid is weak. It's not breaking down our food properly, but we're also seeing that the mucin layer, which is kind of like a protective coating on the inside of our stomach, may actually have thinned out due to chronic health issues, other health conditions, poor diet, or sometimes even just not breaking down your food properly, or potentially not getting the right nutrition with the foods that you're eating, or potentially even due to medication side effects. So really when it comes down to it, you have to realize that your stomach has a mucin coating on it. That's what actually produces the acid and protects the wall of the stomach from being irritated. So if that mucin layer is not working properly, not only is it going to be easier to irritate the stomach lining, but you're not going to be making the right amount or the right type or the right strength of acid. So your food's not breaking down, which means you're going to have iron deficiencies. You're going to have calcium deficiencies. You're not going to be breaking down your proteins properly. And that can cause a whole host of other health issues further on down your digestive system, from bloating and gas to either quick digestion where things go through really fast, or sometimes slow digestion where things kind of stop up and they go up and down all the time. So if you're having digestive symptoms and you have heartburn, chances are it's probably starting in your stomach. So the foods you want to avoid, any type of acidic food, so things like orange juice or things like tomato sauces or anything with an acid base, those are some things you want to avoid because they're going to tend to irritate that mucin layer, especially if it's very thin and not protecting the stomach. Another thing you want to avoid are spicy foods. Spicy foods tend to, again, irritate that stomach, irritate that mucin layer very quickly when it's thin and not working properly. Now, foods that you want to add in. These are very important, and there's many different ways to do it. So one of the foods that I find is super helpful is foods with peppermint or mint derivatives in it. So things like basil, things like peppermint, spearmint, any type of minty things can help. Now, here's the trick. You can actually use essential oils like peppermint, spearmint, directly on your stomach. So you can mix that with a carrier oil or a lotion, maybe a drop or two. Just make sure you don't get it in your eyes. It's not very comfortable. And you can also even eat foods or even have teas with peppermint, spearmint, things like that in it. Any type of mint family is going to help to soothe the irritation of that mucin layer, calm down your stomach, calm down the irritation. Another thing that you can also add in to help with irritation is going to be like a cinnamon. Cinnamon actually helps to warm up the stomach. It actually helps with digestion a little bit and encourages that food to break down and encourages stomach acid production. So any type of cinnamon can also be really helpful. Now, ginger also goes along with cinnamon as well, but for some people, ginger may be too spicy or acidic for them. So if you try ginger and it tends to upset your stomach, I would probably hold off on that. You may not be able to handle it. And then two things that are kind of related to each other are fennel and licorice root. Now, fennel and licorice root have a very distinct flavor. Not everybody's a fan, but I will say this. Licorice root actually helps to, in addition to soothe, and same thing with fennel, to soothe that mucin layer and soothe the stomach, they actually help to support the regrowth of that mucin layer. So that can actually help you regrow that mucin layer to actually stop the problem in the first place. So a couple different ways you can do licorice root. So licorice root does come in a liquid dropper that you can add in and use as a sweetener in your foods or drinks. You can also use licorice root in a capsule form and actually take that with your meals. You can also get it in a tea or a tincture as well. So you can actually make a tea that has licorice root along with other herbs if you're not a fan of it. And you can have maybe 1 to 2 glasses of tea a day. Now, I will warn you, If you have blood pressure issues or your blood pressure goes up when you're taking licorice root, there is an alternative product called DGL, which is a deglycerized licorice root. Glycerizide, it's actually the enzyme in licorice root that helps so much. So if you take licorice root, I do recommend getting your blood pressure checked at least once a week. I do recommend making sure you're working with a doctor because normally I do not recommend taking that long term if you're taking capsule doses. If you're doing tea, 1 or 2 cups a day, not going to cause an issue for you for the most part. But if you want to take licorice root, I do recommend weekly blood pressure checks and getting that managed by a doctor, especially one that is well versed in holistic health and knows what to do or what to switch you to if you have struggles with plain licorice root, because DGL would be a great option for you. Fennel, not really having as many of the side effects, but fennel is again very similar to licorice root with how it works in soothing and helping to regrow and protect that mucin layer in the stomach. So those are some things to avoid. So again, just to recap, avoid spicy stuff, avoid any of your acidic foods, and you want to add in peppermint, cinnamon, fennel, and licorice root or DGL would be an option. If you want more information, please set up a consult in my office. I would love to sit down with you or even do a phone consultation and meet with you on the phone, talk a little bit more about what is going on for you specifically and where we should start to help with your heartburn and digestive issues. So give my office a call, 309-689-6200, or go to our website, freedompeoria.org, to request an appointment. Have a great day.
I said that's the kind of girl I like to meet. She's so